What's up, guys? My name's Max, and I am going for my project. I am going to be doing a rhetorical analysis on my social media throughout my life. I got a Facebook when I think I was in fifth grade, and from then on, I have gained a Instagram and a Twitter account, and I have drastically changed from my fifth grade Facebook self to my current Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter self. I'm going to start with my Facebook account, which is where my social media persona originated. When I first started, most of my friends were just my elementary and then my middle school friends, and we would talk like kind of like texting because I didn't really have a good texting phone, and we'd kind of text on there. And going back on my posts, I find it extremely intriguing, the things that I thought would be a good idea to post on my account. For example, I like pie, so back off or I will kill you, and I like pie, so back off, love Max are two examples of something that I would post back in 2010. I feel like a woman, cough, cough, just kidding, man, is another post that I have said. So, I feel that like as a fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grader, I was more impressed about like what it was cool. I remember that a bunch of my friends back in that time thought pie was like good, and like that was our thing, was pie. So like I would always post about pie. I would always post funny things that I would think my friends would find enjoyable, and I feel like I was always looking for like that like comments, because you go through my posts and you see many comments from all my friends. So I was more interested in like people finding it funny and kind of be like accepted with what was cool and what other people were posting about than I am now. Moving from basically my posts with my friends and trying to fit in what was cool in middle school, my early high school Facebook is where I started to necessarily drop off when it comes to posting. The only things I really posted were pictures. They'd be pictures of what I was doing or what was going on currently, and I would tag myself in other photos and tag my friends into it, and that was kind of what was cool, is like tagging people in places, and that was like the cool thing, was posting all these pictures. I also posted videos of me and my friends messing around on Facebook and tagged them in it, and I feel like that shift was pretty abrupt. I don't know. I feel like I gained a sense of like knowing what not to post in front of my family, because Facebook, like it is now, is known as like a where all the parents are, and I would slowly shifted from like my thoughts into what I looked like in my image, and I feel like, and what I was doing in those images with my friends that I was tagged in, and I feel like my image started to shift from like my being concerned of what my thoughts were to like what I looked like. And you see that shift again change into late high school. In later high school, I wouldn't even post many photos. The only thing that I really did that was like, that actually was me, was I would share things sometimes, very rarely I would share something, and I would change my profile and my profile picture quite frequently. Whatever I was doing that was new was what I would do, is I would just change my profile picture, and I get a decent amount of likes and comments, but that was about it. That was the only thing I was concerned with Facebook, was just updating my pictures to what I looked like and what I was doing, instead of posting them, just strictly profile picture. And again, I think it has to do with my image and with like the adults that were friends with me on Facebook. I feel like I changed how I viewed what I should post. Only sharing things that were like, that would be deemed acceptable to associate yourself with enjoying viewing. And the pictures that I would frequently update were affected by Instagram and Twitter, which when those come into play, my Facebook usage declined greatly. And late high school, it was just strictly profile picture and very low frequent sharing of posts. Then moving on to early college, which I am now as a sophomore, so my freshman and sophomore year at college, I rarely ever go on Facebook. I mean, if I do, it's just to look at the videos. I think I updated my profile picture once in the past year and a half. I get the only thing that really happens like sociable on my Facebook is people tag me and stuff, parents tagging me in pictures, and I get the notifications. But I don't honestly, I don't even go and like the post. I just kind of ignore it. It's kind of just like to have it. I don't really use it. I don't even have Messenger downloaded on my phone. So I'm honestly contemplating deleting my Facebook because I don't use it. And to look back on the change that I had between middle school, which I mean, I had a phone, but it was, a flip phone. You had to press a button 8 times to get a letter. And to see that change between my only usage of communication between Facebook Messenger back in middle school, my posts, my comments, my pictures. I mean, I lived at my computer at home on Facebook just talking with my friends, which is now different, which I can just do sitting on the couch on my phone. And to see that change between how much I depended on Facebook as a middle schooler and the way it is now, it's very intriguing to see like my connection with Facebook and its connection to my life is basically non-existent anymore. If you just looked at my Facebook, you would have no idea what I would be up to and anything really about me because there's no posts. I mean, all you would see is just tagged photos. Shifting gears now to my Twitter, which was next on the list of social media I got. I first got Twitter, I think my 8th grade year. I got Twitter my 8th grade year, very rarely used it. I only followed about 10 people until my freshman year of high school is really when I started to pick up Twitter and started to separate myself from Facebook. And when I got my first Twitter, I still heavily depended on Facebook for my posts and my thoughts, basically my tweets that I would post on Facebook. And so in middle school, I noticed right away that I would really over hashtag, like extremely. For example, I would post the way you look when you hear dubstep and you start twitching like you're having a seizure. Hashtag dubstep, hashtag who are you, hashtag are you okay, hashtag WTF. So, and if you look through my very first tweets, you see that almost all of them have at least 4 hashtags, and I guess that was a cool thing, was to think of a clever tweet and then hashtag it as much as possible. And my tweets were mostly just like thoughts and feelings, like what I was saying. Like, for example, I use like on the way to practice, like stuff like that, like things that like really honestly no one cares about even remotely, but like I felt like was necessary to post on Twitter. And that abruptly changes to my earlier high school. My earlier high school, I just cut off hashtags completely. I don't even think since probably I got in high school I've used a hashtag. I don't think I've used a hashtag until this point. I cut off hashtags, so I guess that was the middle school thing, and that wasn't the cool thing to do anymore, which it must have been in middle school. It's just from like my thoughts, which mostly my tweets were just like some abrupt thought that no one cared about, to like more about like broader thoughts, like ideas about things, on views about stuff that is happening now. I mean, not now, but like back at the time, like my views on like stuff that was happening in sports and my views on stuff that was happening with music. And I started to tweet more about that and took like basically took sides on issues like that. And aside from that, you see me start to retweet more. I mean, in middle school, I rarely retweeted anything. And you start to see me pick up retweeting instead of tweeting myself. And I find the reason for that is the increase in like need to like be accepted with what other people are being accepted with. I think in middle school, obviously you're trying to find your place, but you don't have a filter and you just say what you want. But that change to high school, really, you can see me start changing from, okay, I'm thinking about pie right now, but actually I'm now thinking about this current issue that I'm critically thinking about that I want you to know my position on. And I find that change very drastic in the amount of time that it happened. I mean, within a few months, you just see me completely change. And you see it to continually speed up. Then you go to my later high school tweets. You see that I barely tweet anything. Most of my tweets were either aggressive towards another classmate. You know, all those Twitter fights were cool back when I was a junior and senior in high school. And those are really the only actual tweets I have. They are, you know, basically disagreeing with my own peers. You know, I don't tweet at, you know, famous accounts or anything. I would only tweet at like people in my school that I felt like I needed a voice on about whatever they were talking about or the problems. And you see me retweeting pick up extremely. I start retweeting a lot more. Almost every post I have is a retweet and an occasional reply to someone else's tweet that they tweeted something dumb. You also see me tweet sometimes like things that I think would get many likes. Like, you know, like in middle school I would tweet, "Oh, it's cold outside," which, I mean, I got like a like or two on. But then you see me start picking up broader topics, like talking crap about my high school when they won't issue a snow day. And you see me, like, the amount of times I actually tweet myself go down a lot, but like the material, the content of my tweets go up. And you see that I start to enjoy the way people viewed my tweets a lot more. Like, I feel like if it's not acceptable, if my tweet wasn't acceptable, that it's not worth tweeting. And that view is clearly shown in the actual tweets that I have, aside from me replying to other people in my school. When it comes to early college, I don't tweet ever. It's always retweets, funny tweets, sports tweets, good plays, never anything political. I know now that my Twitter persona is someone that just likes being kind of positive. I mean, most of my retweets are negative. They're always like memes or funny videos or vines or like good sports plays, which is most of it. And you see me like kind of separate myself from like all the political views on, like, for example, guns. You see me aside from like all the Trump, anti-Trump, pro-Trump tweets. I just stick to the things that I enjoy and the things that like I would think that other people would find a good thing to enjoy. So like, you know, obviously people would take sides on you if you're, you know, retweeting Trump's tweets or whatever, but I have stuff that like people would be like, "Oh, this dude likes sports. Oh, he likes funny stuff. He seems like a cool guy." And that is kind of the image that I've taken on. The only tweet, really, I think the only tweet I've had in the last 4 months has been that tweet where I replied to a girl and the tweet went semi-viral, and I really only tweeted that because I thought it would be funny, and I just wanted the girl herself to see that tweet, and it exploded, which, I mean, I found a lot of self-pride, you know, getting nearly 5,000 likes and a bunch of retweets and a bunch of mentions and stuff, and that's why I feel like I don't tweet as much, is because I don't feel that, you know, so all my tweets would get like that. And it's kind of like hard because it sounds bad to say out loud that you go, "Oh, you know, I'm not going to tweet this because, you know, I won't get a lot of recognition for it." But that's basically how it goes. Most of my retweets are just stuff I like, not content I've created myself, and I deprive my own personal content because I feel like people really don't care, because I know that I really don't care about other people's tweets of like people I know. So I see my Twitter self drastically change. I feel like each year you just see me keep changing. For the last social media that I use today is Instagram, of course. I got my Instagram my freshman year of high school. I always thought that Instagram was kind of dumb, but peer pressure on my friends had one. I was like, all right, I might as well get one. And I soon found that I really enjoyed Instagram. I like, you know, we're visual people. We like seeing things, and it's, you know, I just enjoy seeing the pictures and seeing how people actually look. I guess actually look, but um, when I got it my freshman year, I would kind of my posts were very frequent, very low uh, in content. Like I would post like a selfie on the way to a basketball game and like have a caption like cuties or something, or I would take a picture with my dog or take a picture of something I thought was funny, and I would post it. And to me, that was just normal because I didn't really use it that much, and that was what people did. So my Instagram didn't have anything really complex about it. It was just whatever I thought, basically like a tweet, whatever I was thinking about or whatever I thought was funny that I had in picture form, I'd post. And you see that drastically change between my early high school years and my late high school years. I've never deleted anything off Instagram, so my Instagram still has all those old posts, but you can see that the amount of posts I would have within like a month or a few weeks drastically went down. I probably went from 3 posts a week to 1 post every 3 weeks, and the posts were still they were still low in context, just like a picture of like me and my friends, with not really a caption or anything, or for no reason just posting it, or no, for example, like I wouldn't have like a big event like graduation or something. It'd just be like me and my friends like out somewhere and we took a picture and I'd post it. And I didn't really think anything of it. I usually just posted it because it was something to do. And after once I got later in high school, I knew more people, I had more followers, so like you start to notice that like count. And when I first started my Instagram, I only had probably 15 likes on a photo, and then it started picking up and I started getting around 70. And that's when I started critiquing what I was posting, and how it was viewed. And that way, that turn is it Instagram worthy for me was around my later years of high school. Is this post cool or good enough that I want my followers to see? Do I look like the way I want to look for my followers to see? And you see that that judgment really pick up from basically non-existent to extremely existent. I know that when I came to college, it's like posting on Instagram is kind of like an art. Instagram models you would know right away. They take a lot of photos. Now the new thing is, when you ask for a photo with someone, so the person taking the photo knows that you want like 8 of them, so you can pick the best one. And that's how I would describe my early years of college, is taking 8 photos to choose one. I go through my phone. The number of photos in my phone have gone up substantially, and I have a lot of photos, and I always choose the best one that I would want to post that I want my followers to see. And usually it's only if there's a strong context behind it. Like during football season, you'll see a lot of football posts, and you'll see like if me and my girlfriend went somewhere for vacation, I'd post something about that. Or if like me and my family did something cool, I would post about that. Nothing like I just felt good today, I'd post it. Or I went to this place and we got a picture. I don't look too great, but I'll post it. It's more like I look pretty good in this photo, and this is an event that I care for people to know I was at, so I'm going to post it on Instagram. I think since I came to school, I've only posted on Instagram 15 times, whereas my freshman year of high school, I probably posted at least 30 in a few months. And I find that like I haven't posted it on Instagram in 2 months, I think now. My last post was about my girlfriend and her birthday. Previous to that, it was a football post about our last game of the season. And I feel like for me to post on Instagram now, I need to know, hey, people care about this. People will like this. I look good in this. People will like it. It's not about like, oh, what do I want to show? What if my Instagram is based off of what I'm doing and how I look? Like, this is what I post. It's more about like, I'm doing cool stuff. This is the only stuff I do. It's these cool stuff, and I look this good in all of it, and that's what I want you to see. So I went from not caring about if my selfie looked too good or not, but if it was funny, to basically deciding I'm not going to post anything at all about this event that I was normally going to post about because I don't look at it in these photos or I don't think people would care about it. Previous to this assignment, I have not really looked at myself critically when it comes to my digital self. I just knew that I had embarrassing posts from middle school and early high school on my Instagram and stuff, but that was, it's whatever. I mean, it's not like anyone would go through my account and look at it and go, oh, well, this kid's weird or whatever. They would know that that is a early post and that there's a reason behind it. But the biggest eye-opening thing for me is realizing like how different that I view how I viewed myself. I would explain myself in middle school, a kid that, I mean, I was popular and I was kind of the funny kid. I was the class clown. So my posts were around that, funny thoughts, the pie thing. I would always post like things that I thought would people laugh about and that I would get a reaction out of and people would comment on, and that I was very sociable. I wanted to keep in touch and share things with people, and and I wasn't really thinking about that, like everything that I was sharing, everything that I was posting was connected to me, like that this thing, like I was just viewing like, oh, my friends, I'm gonna do this, my friends are gonna see it for these 15 minutes, but then I'm gonna have a new post and this is gonna go away. But in reality, if any of my family members at that time were to go to my thing and they'd look all through it, they'd probably find it really weird, especially people my age or older, now looking at it when I didn't think it was weird as a, 13, 12-year-old kid is now extremely weird to me, but I didn't view it that way. And then shifting to early high school, I see a big step in maturity not a huge, I was still pretty immature, but a step in maturity and realizing like what is right when it comes to how people view you and what is wrong. I noticed that I kind of like disassociate myself with my thoughts that you normally wouldn't share somebody. I mean, you don't walk down the street just yelling every thought you have. So I started, posting only pictures on Facebook. I just started posting selfies with really no captions. I would tweet, just broader topics that I think normal people would accept instead of having a bunch of hashtags and just random thoughts. And I started retweeting more. Then shifting into later high school, I really tightened up that grip on how people viewed me and what I want to post for other people to view. So you see me to stop really posting whatsoever except on Instagram. Facebook, I almost completely drop off my senior year of high school, in my junior year of high school. And then my Twitter account is strictly retweets or tweeting at somebody that I know from school, and I view that as kind of like a lapse in my maturity. Oh, I'm going to tweet back at this person, like this person and my friends that would think it's funny would accept what I tweeted, except that tweet itself is for everybody to see when they go to my Twitter. So I see a big tightening of the grip of my maturity on what I want people to see, but there's still some lapses. Same with my Instagram. I still had some posts that I now think I'm like, I probably, that's not really that good of a post to have, but whatever. But I, started really critically thinking about what I post on Instagram. Facebook, I changed my profile picture and that's about it, because at that point I'm like, oh, everybody on Facebook's 90 and I don't really care if they don't know anything about me. Then moving on to my early years of college, I would say that I have transitioned from middle school to college as a poster to a viewer. I am no longer really that much of a contributor to social media for my personal thoughts. I will show you what I like. I like retweeting funny stuff. I'll post a picture of like what I really want you to know that I'm doing, or what I think is important, but I'm not really putting myself out there in my views and everything that I'm doing currently as much as I did in middle school. In middle school, you know what I'm thinking, what I was doing 4 hours ago, in early high school even, but in college, I mean, my posts are on Instagram are almost a month apart. My Twitter, I rarely tweet anything. It's mostly just retweets, so you would know I like football and I like funny memes, and that's about it. And I kind of enjoy that, knowing that I'm doing that because, I don't necessarily like to know that everyone would know what I like and stuff. And I kind of just like to take a neutral take on things regarding social media because I don't feel like you should be able to get to know me by my social media instead of me in person. And I think that it has really opened my eyes to like my maturity for social media and how I deal with my social media. And I'm pleased that I did change because I do find people somewhat annoying that constantly tweet their thoughts that are very controversial and may offend somebody, which is perfectly fine for them to do. But I just find that that is not what I want to do, is to turn my social media accounts into a debate or a judgment platform. So if you don't believe me and you think that I'm giving you a bunch of crap about my old self, and if you really want to read my funny old Facebook posts, my Facebook is Max Kretschmar. My Twitter is It's Maxey K, ITSMAXEYK, and my Instagram handle is Max Kretschmar7. So give me a follow, and that's my digital footprint.